where he conducted the very first of the hundreds of crusades that would change the world. I'm not sure why, but early on, I felt that God had also called me to be an evangelist, the kind that stands in front of crowds, large and small, and proclaims the gospel. I wasn't sure I was up to that. Back before church planting was as popular as it is today, I took over a study group for young people in Riverside, California, and it grew into a full-blown church. But evangelizing like Billy Graham did is different. Prior to becoming a Christian, I was more of a back-of-the-room kind of guy. My greatest aspiration was to become a professional cartoonist. There was nothing I liked more than to retreat into the private universe of cartoon characters I had developed, more or less as a survival skill. Long before iPads and smartphones came along, my diversion was a piece of white paper and a black felt-tipped pen. What else was I supposed to do in a bar while watching my mom drink and get hit on by men? My backup plan was to open a pet shop. I loved animals. Standing in front of a crowd and preaching? Not for me. Once during high school, my teacher assigned everyone a different famous quote from American history, and we were expected to stand up and give an extemporaneous speech based on it. My quote was, "Do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes," the famous order of Colonel William Prescott at the Battle of Bunker Hill during the Revolutionary War, given so his men would make every shot count. When it was my turn, I stepped in front of the class, cleared my throat, and recited my line. Then my mind went totally blank. After half a minute of embarrassing silence, I slunk back to my seat. Clearly, a life of public speaking was not in the cards for me. But that was before I had something to say. In 1976, our young church was exploding in growth. A newspaper article had been written about us. I made a copy of it and put it in an envelope along with a personal letter I'd written to the most famous evangelist in the world. I desperately wanted to meet Billy Graham and ask him some questions, and I figured the best way to pull this off was to deliver my letter to him personally at his crusade in San Diego. Up until then, my only exposure to him was through TV and listening to him on the new cutting-edge technology called cassette tapes. Where I got that kind of confidence, God only knows. I drove my trusty Corvair 90 miles south and sputtered into the parking lot of the stadium. It was overflowing with people of all ages. The atmosphere was electric and the weather balmy. Billy was at his best that evening, and when he gave the altar call for people to come down to receive Christ, I went forward myself to get a closer look. It was as I stood on the field and looked at him that it dawned on me. This is what I want to do when I grow up. The choir sang Just As I Am, the very song that was sung when Billy had given his life to Christ decades before. After Billy led everyone in a final prayer, he began his descent from the stage. This was my chance. Members of Billy's entourage surrounded him, and as they passed by, I thrust out the manila envelope containing my letter and the newspaper clipping and beseeched, "Please give this to Reverend Graham." As an aide reached for it, I noticed what I had absent-mindedly scrawled on the front, and my heart and high hopes crashed. To Billy Graham, it read. I had spelled Graham, G-R-A-M. Never mind. I finally met Billy for real in 1985, and have been honored to serve on the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association's BGEA Board of Directors for more than 25 years now. I've had the privilege of meeting many well-known preachers and celebrities. I have shaken hands with 4 U.S. presidents and have stood in the Oval Office itself. But I have never met nor been in the presence of any other man like Billy Graham. In the pages that follow, I want to relate all I know about this great man of God and his extraordinary life, how he grew up, his desires as a young man, his transformation into an obedient and humble shepherd of the Lord, his vision for humanity, and how he achieved so much in his 99 years on this earth. I also want to show you what I know of the unique challenges he faced. He had plenty of them, just like you and me. A mystery dogged Billy Graham his whole life. The mystery was central to his very being, to the man he was, and to the kind of life he led. But the solution to this particular